Hey, are you thinking about moving to Wasaga Beach and you're not sure where you might want to live yet, and you just kind of want to feel out the streets and get a feel for the different neighborhoods? Well, stick around, because in this video, I'm going to take you on a summertime driving tour. We already posted a wintertime driving tour, but that's when it was all full of snow and stuff. So I'm going to take you on a summertime driving tour and explain some of the different neighborhoods, explain how they feel, explain what side of town they're on, what they go for, and just that way you can kind of get a feel of some of the different neighborhoods. At the end of the day, we're probably going to drive around and look at homes anyways, but this can kind of give you a preview of what it'll look like up here. If this is your first time on the channel and you want to learn everything there is to know about living in Wasaga Beach, make sure you subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. That way, you'll just be the first to know everything that's happening here in Wasaga Beach. My name's Kevin De Silva, and I'm a local real estate agent with Roy LePage Locations North, and I get calls all the time from people just like you that are looking to make the move to Wasaga Beach. So it doesn't matter if you're looking to do that next month, in 3 months, or even next year, and you just want to learn more, reach out to me. In the description box of this video, there's all the ways you can do that, including a link where you could book a Zoom call directly on my calendar at a time that works for you. Other than that, let's get on with the summer driving tour here in Wasaga Beach. All right, so we just turned off Village Gate. We're gonna show you the neighborhood of Georgian Sands in this driving tour. So I just pulled off Village Gate, like I said, off River Road, and I'm just approaching Shelburne on the left, which is the Georgian Sands subdivision. On the right side, you'll see is the New England Village. They've been there for a few years. There's townhouse condos in there in the $500,000 range. You'll see over here, there's the Georgian Sands playground, and you'll see the townhomes in the back, and there are some detached here. We'll pull on a street for you to get a sense of the detached, but these townhomes go for around the mid 500,000 mark. So that's what you can expect to see over there. So that's Dunes Drive that I just passed. There are detached homes over there. And then there's a few other streets here that have the detached homes too. And then those townhomes face the park. There's some more towards the back part of the subdivision. I'm gonna turn on Hills Thistle Drive, and then you could see some more detached. I mean, you're already seeing some here. So the first part of Village Gate had the townhomes, and then this part has, again, some small detached. And again, this is the most affordable. I've mentioned this in a few videos. This is seriously some of the most affordable homes in Wasaga Beach. Some of these detached homes are in the $600,000 range. Now, you need to keep in mind, they are freehold homes, like the land and the home are freehold, but this is a parcel of tideline community, so the common areas, there is a common elements fee basically to take care of the roads and the garbage collections and stuff like that, because it's not a municipally assumed road. So those are just something to be careful of. But you know what? Even taking those things into consideration, the common elements fees of around $200 a month, these are affordable homes. Like, there's not many other new subdivisions that you can get a detached home for in the 600,000 range that's brand new. Like, this is a brand new subdivision. So again, $600,000 range for the detached, $550,000 range for the townhomes. And again, some of the detached do hit sevens too. So, and into the $700,000 range, just depends on the size, but still, that's the range you'll see. Up ahead, you will notice again more townhomes. These are like 3-story towns. So you go in, and then your second floor, you'll see like ahead on my dash cam, the second floor, you go in, basically there's the garage and there's like a living space down there and a powder room. You go up to the second floor, and where those decks are up top, you'll see on the dash cam, that's the living space, and that's where the kitchen would be. Basically the living room and the kitchen would be over there on that second floor above where those decks are. And then you will have your bedrooms on the third floor. So again, this is the Georgian Sands community on the complete east side of Wasaga Beach. Oh, and remember, they're going to build the new school very, very close to here, like just up the road. So that's going to be kind of neat, being right near the school. And then again, ahead on my dash cam, you will see the community playground. And that's it for Georgian Sands. On to the next community. All right, so we're driving through one of my favorite neighborhoods, or my favorite neighborhood. A lot of you know that I love Oxbow Park. This is a riverfront. This is all the riverfront homes here, right? So Oxbow Park is kind of off the beaten path. No one, it's a one way in, one way out street. So unless you're coming right into Oxbow because you live here, you're not coming this way because there's no through traffic. There's no other through streets. This is the only way in and only way out, right? So Oxbow Park Drive is very popular for riverfront, of course, because it's like the quiet section of the river. Once you pass the Schoonertown Bridge away from the main beach, it gets a little shallower, the river, so you gotta be careful with some of those. Watch our riverfront tour video for you to get a sense of some of the shallow spots if you're considering living on the riverfront. But anyways, homes in Oxbow Park on the riverfront, if there's some on the nicer side with a bit more square footage, like above 2,500 square feet, you're probably looking around $1.2 to $1.5 million. And then on the non-riverfront side, there's some small, 600 square foot spaces that go as low as $500,000 and even lower in some cases, but they'll be in rougher shape if they're lower than that, that's for sure. But that's what you can expect in Oxbow Park. And we're just gonna pull up to the Oxbow Park sand dunes because I just feel like that's a hidden gem that no one really knows about. So stay tuned and we will be at the Oxbow Park sand dunes in just a minute. All right, so I just parked on Woodland Drive, which is right off Oxbow Park Drive. And I'm just walking up to, one of the hidden gems of Wasaga that, again, when people think of Wasaga, they just think of the main beach, right? But no one really ever talks about the river. I shouldn't say nobody, but it's just not as widely talked about. But look at that view. Look at that view. Up there's not really any more homes. That's all just the provincial park side, right? And then you get more to the Oxbow Park Drive homes as you go down this river over here. But one thing I didn't talk about when we were talking about prices, talked about the higher end prices if you live on the riverfront, but you can also get on the riverfront for, around $700,000 on some of the smaller cottages. So riverfront living on the river here, on the Wasaga River, can range between 700 to like $1.5 million or more. But in this section, expect 700 for something small, 1.3 let's say for something nice and done up on the river. But look at that view. Wow. Okay, on to the next neighborhood. Okay, so I just pulled on to Wasaga Sands Drive, and I pulled on from the Sunnydale side of Wasaga Sands, and we're gonna drive through Wasaga Sands because there's a few different spots and they feel a little different even though it's all one street. So as you can see, as I'm driving through, you can see some of these homes right here, and there's spacious lots, but as you actually work your way down towards Wasaga Sands, towards the 45th Street side of Wasaga Sands, they get a little wider and even bigger and kind of some just more expansive views. But you'll have a lot of side splits, raised bungalows on this side of Wasaga Sands, or kind of all of Wasaga. You heard me say that quite a few times. Up ahead, you might be able to see it in the dash cam. This is William Arnell Park as we're approaching kind of the midsection of Wasaga Beach. And this hill up ahead, a lot of tobogganing happens in the winter, so that's kind of a cool, big, spacious park. And you'll start to see the houses start to change feel and style a little bit. You'll have like a big log home beside, a new modern home, beside another wood home, beside another modern home. So you'll see that they start changing quite a bit. And unlike just from a minute ago where they were a little closer together, still great size lots, don't get me wrong, but they start to feel a little bigger and a little more spread out. You'll start seeing here, right? So I'm working my way, now I'm like kind of halfway through Wasaga Sands, Wasaga. And yeah, so these are some homes right here, some straight bungalows too. Like I'm actually passing by a straight bungalow, 2 straight bungalows, not raised bungalows like you'll see a lot of. So that's something there. And I'm working my way west on Wasaga Sands Drive, and I'm almost at the end. I'm almost at 45th Street, and now it's going to change even more from those spacious lots that you saw closer to the Sunnydale side. And I'm going to turn on one of these it's like an off street off of Wasaga Sands called Pearl. That was a development by Baycliff, and even though they call this, you know, Wasaga Sands, it doesn't feel like the original Wasaga Sands. I'm not saying they're not good homes, they're good homes, but now you're just in more of a, you could tell, more of a subdivision style feel, that kind of feel of home, right? So, you know, just something to keep in mind. I'm gonna turn right here on Middleton and work to the other new part that Bay Cliff has worked on, but just a lot of, you know, 15-year-old homes, 10-year-old homes, some a little older. As I'm approaching up Middleton towards Morgan, actually, those homes are like 2 years old and 3 years old, so those are very new. And then that section connects over to Lamont Creek. So we'll drive through Lamont Creek a little bit so you can get a sense of that neighborhood. But homes in this new section, of Wasaga Sands, like off of Pearl and Middleton and Emerald and all that, they hover around the 800s right now for the detached. Some of the larger ones are in the 900s. And then there's some townhomes back there on Lisa and some on Autumn Drive too. And those are hanging around the mid 6s right now, high 6s, some in the low 7s. But that's kind of the price range you're expected to see there. And on the older side where we were earlier, I didn't mention price, but that would be more like $1.1 million to $1.5 million for some of the nicer ones, the nicer, bigger, you know, bungalows on Wasaga Sands Drive. So we are on the Lamont Creek side of the subdivision, so off of Wasaga Sands from the old section to the new section, and you'll see some people playing tennis over here. Lamont Creek, there's a creek over there, obviously Lamont Creek. There's some nice trails back there, very peaceful, very nice place to hang out, play tennis and stuff like that. And the home, there's some pretty nice homes over here, and you're pretty like off the beaten path here too, right? Kind of like Oxbow where you're off the beaten path, and Lamont Creek, you're really off the beaten path. Like, you don't really come here unless you live here or you're playing tennis there. And you know, these homes hover around the $1 million mark too. Some a little less actually lately, but leave that as a placeholder. $1 million plus minus 100,000 or two, depending on finishes, or if you're on a court like this one, like Hillier, or Pridham Court up ahead, or you know, just some of those things. So there's some nicer ones, some of them back onto more of the ravine and the creek. So that's something to keep in mind. But this is a super nice area off Wasaga Sands, the Lamont Creek side, and we are on to the next neighborhood. All right, we're in another very nice neighborhood that's kind of off the beaten path, off of River Road on Wasaga's east end. They call this Wasaga Village, this subdivision. I call it White Sands Way, the White Sands Way neighborhood, because that's the one that kind of loops around. White Sands Way loops around this whole neighborhood, but there's a couple other streets in here. This one's kind of cool. Again, east end, closer to the Stonebridge Plaza in Wasaga Beach, and these homes go around the $800,000 mark, but some do go for more than that for sure, depending on if they back onto the provincial park, for example. Like, there's sections of White Sands Way that back onto the thousands of acres of Wasaga Provincial Park, where all those trails are, those hiking trails, biking trails, snowmobile trails, all that stuff. You got the Wasaga Village Park playground over here for the kids, you know, and it's really easy. From anywhere in this subdivision, your kids could walk over, bike over, and come over to the park, and to the playground, I should say. So I'm turning on Grand Poplar Lane, and just trying to show you a sense of what the homes look like in this area, off to outside my window here. And if you look straight ahead on my dash cam, where you see all those trees, that's straight on to the provincial park. So you're literally right around it, and there's these access points where you can go on your dog walks and you're hiking, and winter, summer, fall, spring, you can go there whenever you want, right? So that's it's really neat to be surrounded, like completely surrounded by that park, the provincial park, I should say. And that's another cool feature of Wasaga Village, or the White Sands Way neighborhood. On to the next area. Okay, so we're rolling into we're on Briarwood right now, right off of Ramblewood. We're in West End Wasaga. these homes have been around for a little while. You know, a lot of them 25 years old or a little older. I got to double check the exact age, but a nice mature area, and it's west side. It's pretty quiet here. Ramblewood's not quiet. It's definitely a big through street now, especially with the Costco potentially going in. It'll be busier, but this is off of Ramblewood, so you got streets like Briarwood, like Sugar Maple Lane, like Green Pine Crescent, that all have this kind of feel home, and a lot of them are hovering in the mid 7s to mid 8s depending on finishes and what they're backing onto, of course. But this is kind of nice. And then you got St. Noel Catholic. The school is right there on Ramblewood, so like you're walking distance to that school for sure. So that's kind of a nice section off Cherry Sands, Crescent, all that. So this is a good West End community. It connects to Allegra, that connects to Bianca, which has those townhomes. Those are newer Zancor built homes. Those kind of go towards the Lions roundabout there, the Lions Street roundabout where the Costco is going to be. But yeah, this is a good West End community right off Ramblewood, and with the school being right there, the Carly Patterson Trail right there. Yeah, it's definitely a good spot, easy access out of town, and you're kind of on an outskirt here, being on the west side and on the south side. This is the west side of Wasaga and kind of on the south side of the development. Easy access in and out of town, and it feels pretty quiet. Again, Ramblewood, not so much. It's quiet. It's not it's not Moseley. It's not as busy as Moseley, but it's definitely a through street with the school being here and then some development happening. It's becoming like a back way street, like an alternate route. So that's just something to keep in mind. But other than that, on to the next neighborhood. Okay, so we just turned off of River Road onto Fernbrook, and just wanted to point out some of the streets here because pretty popular spot as well. You'll see homes in the $600,000 range for the most part. Got Deer Park Trail right here. It's a little community playground. For the kids, and there's a few different kind of sections off of Fernbrook here where you have a couple of crescents like Timberland Crescent, or Harbor Crescent, which will be all the crescents around this Fernbrook area. And then you got like Rose Valley and stuff like that. But this is some of the semi-detached homes right on Fernbrook. I'll turn on to Timberland in a second so you can kind of see what those homes look like. They're a little bit more spaced out from there, but it'll just give you a bit of a sense of what homes go for here. And some of them can get into the upper 700,000 mark and maybe $800,000 mark. But just wanted to point, some of these homes out. And again, like a lot of the other homes on this tour, you will see these trees in the back of these homes here. That's again the provincial park that these homes back onto. So if they're finished nicely and they back onto the provincial park there, you'll be expected to pay a little bit more money for those. But this is Timberland Crescent that I'm on. Just give you a little preview, a little summer preview of what this neighborhood looks like when it's all filled in really nicely. But other than that, we are heading to the next neighborhood. Okay, so we just came off of Blueberry Trail, just up from Mills Park, the Mills Park playground, the Town Hall Center area, and I am driving through a street called Royal Beach Drive. Really popular street where a lot of homes in this area, again, raised bungalows, of course. A lot of raised bungalows in this area, and for the most part, you will see homes in this neighborhood hanging around the 800,000 mark, for the most part, right? So that's what you'll expect to see for Royal Beach. And you can see on my dash cam, again, we are all those trees around that house all the way at the end. That's the provincial park that I'm talking about, right? You're surrounded by provincial park on some of these streets where there's a couple thousand acres of trails. And through this Silverbirch neighborhood. So the Silverbirch neighborhood, basically right beside where we just were on Royal Beach, but these homes just tend to sell for a little less. A lot of sales in the 700s and high 600,000 range, but you can find a lot in the $700,000 range and a lot of homes to choose from. But again, similar style, raised bungalows, stuff like that. And what's cool is you're getting a little closer to the Birchview Dunes School, so a lot of kids are within walking distance of the school. And then there's like connected trails you could see through the neighborhood, like we just passed over there. So that's kind of cool, just kind of walking through, being able to walk through and go through the trails and stuff. And another really good thing you'll see on my dash cam in just a few minutes is Royal Beach is a pretty big neighborhood, and not long ago they finally got a traffic light to get out, so now you're not stuck here making a left forever. So they finally got a traffic light to let everybody out, especially at those rush hours like in the morning and stuff like that, which has been very, very helpful to the residents of the Silverbirch and the Silverbirch area are connected to the Royal Beach area, but the light is at Silverbirch. The Royal Beach side has the Blueberry Trail light, but this light up ahead, you can see on my dash cam, you can see how brand new it is. It just turned green for me, so I'm going to shut off the camera. Yeah, that's the new traffic light at Silverbirch. All right, so we're in the subdivision right off of River Road. I'm on Riverdale, but there's also Innisbrook and Glen Eaton, and this kind of makes its own little subdivision over here. The back of the back end of this streets does back onto that provincial park again. You got Glendale Playground right here for the kids. A lot of the homes around here, especially right around the park, their living rooms actually face Glendale Park and the playground, so you can even just kind of watch your kids as they run off and blow off some energy. But yeah, homes in this area hover around for the most part, 650,000 to 725,000 kind of range. Always outliers above and below those ranges, but you will expect to see some of the similar homes like raised bungalows, double car garages, for the most part, some single car garages too, you'll see. But this is pretty popular and on the more affordable side as far as today's affordability and today's prices go. This would be one of the more affordable neighborhoods, along with Dyer Drive and places like that. But yep, this is I'm on Glen Eaton right now, going back towards River Road, and I will see you at the next neighborhood. Okay, so we are driving down Meadowlark, and we're on the west side of Wasaga Beach, basically just over to, like, on the other side of these homes. There basically is where the superstore is for your shopping, your Canadian Tire, Mark's Work Warehouse, and then you have on the other side of those plazas, you have your Chinese food, Starbucks, a few other things, right? There's a few other things going on in there. But the homes in this area, again, raised bungalows, typical Wasaga style, would be in the mid-6s, but unlikely in the mid-6s. There just have been a few sales. Majority in the $700,000 to $750,000 range. So that's Meadowlark, and we just passed by like Northwood and Wintergreen and Red Pine Crescents around the corner. So you got a pocket here, and the closer you are to 42nd Street, because this Meadowlark Boulevard kind of wraps around and it goes from Knox and then over to 42nd. As you get closer to 42nd, you're getting close to the Recplex and the YMCA and Oakview Wood Park and all that stuff. So you could go enjoy that park and playground over there, the tennis courts, the pickleball courts. You can even walk through that path behind the Recplex YMCA over to the beach. So this is a nice community over here. A lot of families in this community. They like the West End part of Wasaga Beach. A lot of families like that West End side, and the proximity to the superstore being literally like across from some of these homes, and the proximity to the YMCA, and the proximity to Collingwood being on the West End. So this is a super popular neighborhood. We're approaching Blue Jay Place right here, another popular street, but it's all part of the same section. So as I get to 42nd, I'm just going to make a left there, and you're going to see that we're going to see a set of lights soon. If you look on the dash cam, you're gonna see the Recplex YMCA right there. So that's how close it is if you're on Meadowlark or any of those other streets I mentioned on this West Side closest superstore. And we're gonna go and end the tour at the Recplex because it's Tuesday, and that means it's the farmers market. So it's been a long tour, and I'm gonna get an iced coffee and we'll finish off over there. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed that driving tour. I'm pulled over. I'm gonna hit the Wasaga Beach Farmers Market that is only on Tuesdays from 3 to 7 p.m. in the summers. So make sure that's something you come and support locally when you move to Wasaga Beach. Tuesdays, 3 to 7. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed that driving tour. That's all I could fit in for today. Refer to the winter driving tour for some other neighborhoods, but there's more to come, and make sure you subscribe and tap the bell for notifications. That way you'll be the first to know about the next tour and the next thing happening in Wasaga Beach. We post videos weekly, so make sure you stay tuned for those. And until then, I'm looking forward to helping you make a smooth move to Wasaga Beach.